All right, in this section, we are going to be going into what brand strategy really is in a workshop style and really discussing in detail. So, take it away, for sure.
All right. Okay. So let me just go with black, black marker. All right. So when it comes to brand strategy or trying to get down to the strategy side of branding, there is a process and there is a framework. So the mistake most people make or most strategists make is trying to rely heavily on frameworks. Frameworks are supposed to guide you, right? But they are not. They're supposed to guide your writing, not necessarily guide your thinking. Okay. So I'll go this way, right? Let's just put here, right? No, I don't have to limit it. Right. All right. So how do you start doing? Like, how do you get started within brand strategy with your clients? So usually, this is I'm going to group it into probably like five categories. List of things that you need to do. Okay. The first thing is to define define the problem. Back then I said brand strategy is there to help you achieve not just every goal, to achieve certain specific goal, right? And so goals differs based on the company that you're working with, based on the client or founder, or based on the project. Basically, sometimes some of us have the opportunity to work on big brands, to work on the big brands and all. For those kind of projects, the goal is different, right?
Yeah.
And it's different to me working with a founder like my friend who's just starting a new business. The goal is way different. Why one is why one wants to enter the market as a new entrant. The other one is already a player and probably needs clarity around his internal systems, right? So it's important to actually define the problem. And there are ways to define the problem. Usually you can talk to the founder, or maybe and the stakeholders, right? And the stakeholders could be like the investors, or maybe like people who are just necessarily that have high stakes in the brand. And then there is another way to find the problem, right? Usually you can decipher the problem just from the stage of the business that the person is in, right? So for example, if it's a small business, then you're looking at, let me just write small business. So if it's a small business, you're looking at maybe the problem could be awareness. Maybe they're not generating as much traffic or eyeballs. You're not getting eyeballs on them. The problem maybe could be like people not getting to actually try their product. So probably a trial problem, right? So usually this is really problem, and maybe of course usage, right? People are not even using the product at all. Might have it on Play Store for like a year, and you still have like less than 1,000 downloads. So these are the problem for maybe small business and probably startups, right?
Yeah.
And then when you come to the bigger ones, big companies, or maybe unicorns, for some of us that might have the opportunity to work with them. Usually their problem is usually revolves around internal clarity, right? Maybe or culture, trying to help them clarify their culture, or maybe identify goals, big organizational goals, right?
Yeah.
And there's another thing that I also learned recently, which is around how to define a problem. So usually, in the marketing funnel, you have the popular funnel, which we all know. I guess most people will know them. You have this kind of funnel. It's like this, right?
Yeah.
So usually the top is awareness. Writing. The second is like trial. Okay. The third is purchase. The third is retention, and the last is loyalty. Right? Some people collapse it into four. It's like they just have their awareness, trial, purchase, and loyalty. So each of these funnels, there are usually all of these problems usually stem from one level in this funnel. So there is tension. So for example, if the problem is an awareness problem, that means you need to work. The brand strategy should be optimized towards developing like a launch plan, right? Maybe using a mix of all the marketing channels, advertising, content, offline, online, all those channel strategy, using all of them for awareness, right? Now, if the problem, if the tension revolves around trial, right? We know that this business has been they've been in existence for quite a while, and still people know about you, but they're not getting to try the product. What is happening? Usually, it could be for this one. Let me just say, visibility problem. Visibility problem, right? For trial, it could be that people are not trying, right? That means they know about you, right? But they haven't considered, or let me say they haven't okay. So here we have the marketing funnel that looks like this. You have the awareness, you have the consideration, you have the trial, you have the purchase, you have the loyalty, right? So usually if it's a small business or a new business, we just started, want to do this, want to do that. Usually the problem is they want to get more awareness, right? They haven't launched a new entrant, they just want to get as much people. Now usually the problem is a visibility problem. You need more eyeballs on them, right? And with visibility you can resolve it with different launch, like with different channels, with different strategies. Usually you are creating a launch plan for the brand, right, in order for them to launch into the market. So you are looking at using the different marketing mix. You can use content and use offline strategies or online, all those strategies like running ads, Google, DN, whatnot, right? So that's visibility for awareness. And then for some companies, it could be that people know them, people know about them. They run ads, they have a level of people are following us, they resonate and stuff, but they are not getting to consider our product. For example, in the fintech, we have a lot of players in the fintech. Now you just said, okay, fine, you've been doing all this stuff, you have visibility, act, but then people are not downloading, right? People are not downloading on Play Store. They are not seeing anything. What is wrong? It could be a consideration problem. And usually consideration problem means that something that you're seeing isn't resonating with the target. It's not resonating with the target audience. Okay? So usually it's a messaging problem. What are you saying? What are you saying to them? Sorry, I'm saying my writing is so wonky. But yeah, it's usually a messaging problem. You're like, what are you saying to them? What are you saying that is resolving the tension that you are solving for them? Okay, that you want to solve for them, brother. So it's usually messaging, or maybe like tagline, or maybe like visuals. Sometimes it could just be visuals too. Like, is your color resonating? Are you speaking to them? What type of expression? I could say maybe expression, right? Type of expression do you have? Does it resonate with me? If it does, I'll check you out. I'll consider you. You're in my bracket of brands that I'm considering. Do you understand? And so that's it. For trial, usually companies that have problems with trial is like, you can say that They have awareness act. That's fine. They have consideration. Of course, when you ask people, when you ask our customers, who are the brands that they consider in this category, they are the ones that they are mentioning. But they are not buying our products. They are not downloading it. What is now the problem? Okay, so for trial, usually it is for some product for product brands, it could be the distribution. Right?
Okay.
For example, there was a brand in Ibadan, Mobility. I don't know if you heard of the brand, Mobility. They were spread across the entire city, like you see their ads everywhere, Mobility. But I don't know what the brand is about. What are you doing? What are you selling?
Right.
What do you want me to do? So it could be distribution for product companies, especially if you are selling products. It should be available in supermarkets where people can actually buy. One thing that OP asked was the distribution. OP was like when OP wanted to gain market share, they were present in every part of the country. You can easily find someone using OP agent and whatnot. And money point, same thing, right?
Yeah.
So distro is a big thing, and also for trial too, it could also be maybe for digital brands, it could be maybe their name or something, or their maybe their name or their web address. All right.
Yeah.
You said the name of your brand is let's say the name of your brand is Cooler, right?
Yeah.
Normally, if maybe I want to order something on your website and maybe the point of purchase is through your website, I'm going to type cooler.com. And when I type cooler.com, it's not getting me to cooler.com. So what do? I'm going to just think about, these people are not even serious. Go to the next one, right?
Yeah.
So for trial, it could be that you are not making it easy for your target audience to access your products.
Yeah.
So those are important. It could be the name. For example, some Instagram handles go like, maybe the name of your brand is Tola Jewelries, right? But then your Instagram handle is Tola 1 2 3 4 5 Jewelries, this that, and it's like you are confusing me. Just put your name at this that, right? So it's very important, especially when it comes to trial, right?
Yeah.
So for purchase, some clients were like, people that say people are not purchasing their products. It's not really because they are not purchasing their products. Sometimes it could be that they have awareness problem which they don't know. Sometimes it could be that they have consideration which they don't know. But people that have this act, they have awareness act, they have consideration act, they have trial act, right? People are like buying, right? Trial is when people actually try. But then they are not actually purchasing. They just buy one time and they leave. What could be wrong? Right? It's like, what could be wrong? So sometimes you can find that maybe price. Find that need. People only go there once or twice. I've counted the amount of fine diners I've gone to since I can afford them. Could just be price. I went there one time. Nice stuff, but I can't afford them again. Right? Or purchase could be just like the experience that they have with the brand. It could be like the brand experience. Right? So it could be the brand experience. Okay? And things like that. Like, what are you doing to satisfy the customer? If I download your app, is it easy to navigate? Do I like the experience? Do you get? One of the things that help PiggyVest was the experience of the app.
Yeah, totally.
It's not that difficult to save. Just go tap to save. Bam, 1,000 naira. Everything it should be removed. Like everything is going to work out. Like have different savings and all and what's not. So experience is there. OP2, seamless, fast. No beating around the bush. So for purchase, for people to continue to use your product, you have to make it easy for them, and you have to make the experience worth it. And then lastly, for loyalty is like, how can we get these people to be our preachers? How can we get them to preach our product to others around them? And this is like the pinnacle of whatever brand marketing Loyalty is the pinnacle, because when I make you my loyalist or a fan, I can get 20 more customers from you. Do you know that? And there's one thing that this guy, Fugap by Victor Fatome, something that probably act, right? The fact that you resonated with a certain niche, which is the creatives, and the people that gets it, they preached it to the ends of the earth, right? Increasing the user base for them. And people will start wondering, how's Fugap? People don't try them, right? And so loyalty is so important. So sometimes, if loyalty is a problem, usually small businesses don't have this kind of problem, because usually they're not thinking about loyalty. They want more purchase, they want more trial. But for loyalty, you find big brands in this kind of loop. So usually loyalty is maybe reward, maybe like creating like a reward system, maybe a reward problem. Are you incentivizing them? Sometimes it could even be a big idea problem, right? A lot of people are loyalists to Apple. Why? They just like Apple. They like what they represent, right? A lot of people are loyalists to what their favorite brands are, and they just why do you like this? I vibe with them. Just vibe with them. They return and likes, just vibe with them. So it could be a big idea, and these are basically what companies, what the intention is, usually for most of them in each of these stages, right? So once you find what the problem is, define it. That is the aim of the strategy. We aim to do this, do that for this brand. And also it is important to also define what the goal remain for them, right? Define it. If it's trial, how many new trials do you want to get? If it's purchase, how much product do you want to sell in this duration of time? So it's really important to work that out. I usually solve problems within this and this: awareness and consideration, right? And trial is most times trial is distribution. Is your product available? If it's a digital product, it could be some optimization with the name, or maybe the address, or hints that should typically be easy for people to be able to do. So you just make sure that you optimize it. Now let's go. Let me define the problem. That's fine. Now the next thing I want to consider is what I call positioning. Say why positioning? Usually, people that seek for brand strategy, they don't have, for some obvious reasons, especially with awareness and consideration, they don't have a tight-knit strategy. Their strategy is not clear. It's not concise. It is not specific. Now, how do you do positioning? People just go straight to writing the positioning statements. I don't know if you know the positioning statements. For dash, we are dash. I'm still going to come back to it. Why that is good? Okay, so usually the positioning statement is for the customer set. We are what you do, right? We are dash that does maybe dash and dash whatever the person is doing, the functional benefits and probably the emotional. Then next thing is because, right? So because is the reasons to believe. So for here you're talking about your customers. Here you're talking about you, the company, which is like your context. I would say the context, relative to the competition. Context relative to guys, I hope you're hearing me. Sorry, seems like what I'm writing is not fitting into what I'm saying. That does, which is like the benefits, which could be usually it's emotional benefits or functional, but usually I will just reserve this for emotional benefits. Because dash, now because dash is the what is going to be here is the reasons to believe, right? Now these reasons to believe is the most important part of the strategy. Now, people dive into this framework because it's easy. Let's just start from this definition. What do you do? It's just like people filling boxes. Usually, this is the last thing that you want to do when you're doing position. Like the last thing that you want to do. This is how you do positioning. You first understand the customer. Who is the brand serving? Because if you don't understand these customers, you're not going to be able to fill this. And people will tell you, our customer is eating to this. Usually, people just tell you demographics. Found out they are very bad at this thing. They just give you, okay, we are serving 18 to 50 or 60. I'll tell them this is a very wide demographic.
Yeah.
You are not going to be serving someone that just finished from secondary school down to someone that is nearing endpoint in life. Choose your battles, shrink it. So for customers, for you to define the customers, look at two things. Look at demographics, right? And the psychographics. I'll just say psychographics. So the psychographics look at the obvious things around the customers. Visible or obvious data. You wore yellow, there's a chain on your neck. I can easily tell you're young, probably between 18 to 22 or 23, in between. And from your looks, I can tell you're a Christian. Maybe from your looks, I can tell you're a Christian.
Okay.
Maybe from your name too. From your appearance, maybe you're the second to the last born, or the last one in your family, and possibly that. I could guess your salary age, your salary range, and all those stuff. So those are kind of visible metrics, right? And then for the cycle, we're looking at the attitudinal metrics. What are those things that drives your attitude, your disposition to life? Now, this is the hardest part because people don't see this. I can't see what you're thinking, right?
Yeah.
I can't see. Now, for you to discover psychographics, you can do your research and talk to people. If your product is, I did something with a group recently on brand strategy. We're doing something in a group, and our audience is the older demographic. I had to talk to my mom. I had to interview my mom, and then through that, I kind of understood the psychographics to an extent, right? And so many projects like that, I had to like talk to people who are these people, or maybe interview the founders in depth, right? Because usually they know these people, so you'll be able to get this data from them. So cycle, you're looking at attitudinal data, and when you're talking about attitude, you're talking about emotions, talking about the emotion, talking about the feelings, right? Talking about the challenges, right? What are those things that wake you up at night, right? So you're talking about your values and so on and so forth. It's a lot that you can get from psychographics, right? So that is that. Now, from this analysis of your customers, you're able to understand, okay, this is who my customer is. Now, there's something that people should start doing, which is like who the ideal customer is. So I call it the bullseye, right? If you should summarize all these customers, because usually, okay, so before the bullseye, so after these customers, you should do something like segment the customers, right? I think you should do this before actually defining the customers. So when it comes to segmentation, so after this, you should do something like segment your customers, right?
Yeah.
I think in fact it's something that you should do while doing the customer profiling. So for each segment, for example, if the brand is covering a wide range of audience set, you could do like segment, maybe Gen Z, right? Early millennial, depending on depending on the project and the brand. So you can have 3-4 segments, Then after you must have segments, you need to define your bullseyes. I call it bullseyes. So when you say bullseyes, you're talking about the target. If this brand, if it's to speak to one person, who is it going to be? So usually it is hyper specific. Okay. Sometimes the bullseye could be one person, right? And sometimes the bullseye could be a tribe. If you get that.
Yeah.
And when I say tribe, you can have cultures, you can have subcultures, and whatnot. So culture, talk about the creatives, right? Talk about subculture, talk about graphic designers in Ibadan. Specific, right? Graphic designers, there's a way that we do. There are things that pertain to us that other people don't understand. And when you talk about tribes, you're talking about, maybe your church members, because the Christians, right? Tribe could be Owambe mothers. People that go for Owambe on this kind of day, Saturday, different. You can make sure that you are specific as possible. If you don't want to niche down to one person, make sure that you're doing it in tribes. Right? So with the tribe, you could be like, he is a 19 or is a 25-year-old male. He this, that. For tribe, it could be the this, right? So that it is even much more clear to you as in the strategy. Okay, this is the tribe that I'm talking to. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
After you must have done this, then you move to what I call research. Competitive research. So this part is usually best done when you talk to people. You have to actually talk to people. There's no way, right? If it's just getting 2, 3, 4% from the target audience set, researching them, and also you going beyond, going outside of that to research the competitors. Who are the competitors in this space? You need to analyze. So this competitive research cuts through competitive analysis, or like analyze the competition. So when you're analyzing the competition, you want to understand what are they saying in terms of verbal. What is their verbal message? What are they saying? How are they positioning? Right? What is their visuals like? Maybe name. What is their marketing mix? Like what channel? Like is it the 4 P's in terms of product price, product place, price and promotion? So many things. You need to analyze your competition. Find like 5. If it's the saving space, pick the best, Carl Wise, Shrove, Bamboo, all of them. Pick them, analyze them. What are they doing? What are they saying? Right, exactly. The next thing that you want to do after your competitive analysis is to draw your insights, right? So you can do this in a very simple way, really. Kind of draw this box like this, right? So here is for the category insight. What is it about the category? What do you find to be true, right? After your research, what is true about them? The category, right? Category insights, and then this box is for the target audience. What is that insight about your TA? When I say insight, I mean, what is that thing that is really peculiar to your target audience? What is that problem that you see that revolves around your TA that the competition is not solving? Audience insights. A lot of people, we assume for these audiences that we assume a lot. We assume that the audience needs, for example, maybe if you're selling skincare products, we assume that the audience needs a smooth skin. They want to look bright, right? They want to look. But truly, is that the insight? Do people want to really look bright? Sometimes the audience just want to They just want to feel fly in front of their girlfriend or their crush, the crush that they want to get, that they want to get their attention. Or some people, they just want to clear the acne on their face. It's been disturbing them a lot,
Yeah.
you know. And for some people, it's just I don't know. They need a cheap option. They need cheaper options for their wardrobe. It's not all of us that can afford 20,000 creams, 30,000 creams, right? Exactly. So people just need. I don't really have a skin problem. I just want the cheaper one. So you need to understand this insight. And it has to be relevant to the brand, right? And so equals to the proposition, right? So I would say this is usually here.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So the proposition is usually intertwined between the category inside and the target inside. Then where is your brand playing exactly? So that is really how to discover the positioning, right? And for sometimes it could come as a result of maybe when you're doing your research and discover, you just discover that moment that this problem has been there. Nobody is actually solving this problem. Do you get? So yeah, it's a very important thing to note, especially when you're doing brand strategy. So after research, after positioning, another thing that you also want to do is I call it the culture. I call it the culture, right? And I'm not talking about Yoruba culture. I'm talking about the organizational culture, right? As pertaining to the organization. So here, this is where you have the purpose. This is where you have the mission. This is where you have the vision and also the core values, right? Usually people start here. In the past, I love to start here. I started to start writing my strategy from here. But this should come as a result of the insights that you've unraveled or unearthed from your research, right? So from that proposition, you'll be able to understand, okay, the purpose should weave around this proposition. The mission should weave around. The mission should be, how do I aim? What am I going to be committed to in order to achieve this proposition for my customers? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So that's the culture. Then the third thing that I also usually try to figure out is I call it personality. Personality. Okay, so for this personality, what most people do is just like our personality attributes. They are safe, they are innovative, they are calm, maybe they are edgy. A lot of people like to use that word, edgy, unconventional. That's good, really, to be honest. But using just attributes waters down personality of a brand. I have fallen into that deep pit before, but I like to combine the usage of what I call the brand archetype. Right? It's a brand archetype. So when you talk about the brand archetypes, they are one of the popular framework for determining a brand personality. So we have 12. Right? We are split into 12. There is a mnemonic that I have for it. Choleric. If you're wondering, choleric gems. That's kind of my mnemonic for it, right? So when you talk about C, maybe C is the creator. C is the creator. H is the hero, right? O. Okay. O is the outlaw. O is the outlaw. L is the lover. E is everyman. R is ruler. I is innocent. This C is caregiver. C is caregiver. J is jester. Okay, so the E is the explorer, and M is the magician, and also S the sage. Okay, this is a very weird mnemonic, really. but they are grouped. It looks like a circle like this. Then each of these things has three inside of them. But it's just for me, really. That's color region. So for brand archetypes are basically themes. They are themes that characterizes how people behave. Right. So if you talk about creator, talk about, or let me say, you talk about the hero. You know that the hero is someone that wants to win the day, right? They want to be the winner of the story, right? They want to be the conqueror, right? They want things to, they want to, I won't say they want to rule. Hero is more like they want to become the ruler. They want to win the story, become the hero, right? So from just the hero alone, from the story around them and the strategy around the hero brand, you discover that you start to picture the brand in a way that feels human. Let me take that again. So brand archetype, they characterize the theme, right? They describe the themes that kind of characterizes the human behavior. So for example, you find out the outlaw. Who is an outlaw? An outlaw is someone that wants to go, they want to go to the ends of the earth to get things done. They don't like to be held down. Right? They want to go beyond there. Freedom is what they like. They want to be free, right? And when you start to understand these archetypes, these archetypal things, you start to discover that your brand gets more deep in its meaning. Okay, so for example, you say our archetype is the explorer, right? Now from there you begin to picture the different nuances and the different things, the different strategy that you can bring into your brand to make it feel like the explorer archetype. Now there's a lot of controversies around archetypes because people think it's just 12 and we have a lot of brands in the world. So what if my brand and the competitor, everybody's just how am I positioned? How am I differentiating? But this is the thing. This is one thing that I learned from someone, Mr. Whiteboard. So archetype is how you archetype is what you express yourself as. Then there's something called stereotype. Now stereotype is how you express yourself. Now the archetype, we are the hero, we are a ruler, right? That's your archetype, that's the what. But then how are you expressing as a hero? It's different. My own ruler could be, you can see the Oni now, Oni of Ife. Is probably I can from afar I can say, oh, Oni is the kind of person that's jovial, that wants to relate with everybody, right? Unlike the previous one, which was the Shujadi. You can see the disparity. Both of them are still rulers, but at the end of the day, they're expressing their position and the status. In the way they're expressing it's different. So the same thing for brands. So it's not just by saying you're a jester. How are you expressing yourself as a jester? Do you understand? And this thing, they have different meanings of their own. And if you want to, I recommend that you go and read more on them and know the characteristic of each of these archetypes. Now, that is for archetype. That is for personality. That is it. Personality, which literally helps you to embody the brand as a human, right? People don't just see brands as entities; they see them as humans, right? And when people can picture you as somebody that has emotion, somebody that has feelings, they will relate with you more on a very emotional level. Now that's personality. Now the last thing I'm going to talk about is the roadmap. So usually, this is something that I usually include for my clients. The roadmap. How do we go from here? Now you have the strategy. It's fine. So how do I use this strategy? How do I go? Now the roadmap consists of, you can have different things in the roadmap depending on what you are recommending for your clients. So usually you have the launch strategy, right? You have the launch strategy. You have the marketing. You have the marketing mix, right? And marketing mix, you're talking about price. The 4 P's of marketing, rather 4 P's. We're talking about price. How are we going to be pricing our product or services? That is going to determine if people are going to patronize us or not. So, now the next P is the no, sorry. Let's start with, so we're talking about the 4 P's of marketing here. So the first one is usually the product. What is our product made up of? Like the makeup of the product. What is it made up of? How are we going to align our product with our strategy? And the next one is the price. How are we going to price it relative to our competition? You know, when Biggie came, you know what they did? They outpriced Coca-Cola's and the competitors at the time.
Yeah.
Everybody was saying at 150, Biggie was saying at 100. It's bigger,
Yeah.
bigger bottle. I don't know where they are currently, but of course you can't possibly outrun those industry leaders. But yeah, the price is very important relative to the competition, relative to comp. And then next thing is the place. Where are we going to put our product? It's very important. If you're selling a premium product, why are you doing advert Whiteboard for a premium product? No. When you want to advertise a premium product, go to the places where the rich people are, people that can afford you. And so for some brands, you can't find that advertisement anywhere. It's only when you get to the airport. Why? People that use airplanes can afford you. So the place is very important too. Places where people can find you. And then last thing, you have the promotion. How are we going to get ourselves out? How do we get visibility? How do we get sales? What are the promotional strategies that are going to be used? So this also is very important for the roadmap. And then you discover that when you have all of these things, then you can now start to consider maybe in your promotion, you have things like your content, you have things like your website, SEO, you get influencer, and all those stuff, yada. So literally that is the key things that you should have in your brand strategy. Actually, these are the most important things. So what I'm going to recommend is of course, watch this video again if you feel confused, and read up on most of these things that I've shared. And yeah, I'd love to see your questions in the comments.